We are here with the radiant and talented Hannah Waddingham, the Critics' Choice winning, Olivier nominated star who plays Rebecca Welton on Apple TV Plus's Ted Lasso. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Nick. And I should have blocked my ears with that intro.
You gotta get used to it. You are rising, and we love every minute of Rebecca and everything that you've put into the character as well.
Thank you. I'm very, very precious about who she is and where she goes from here, I have to say.
I'm excited. Yeah, I know we can't share any season 2 details, but I cannot wait to see where she goes. But going back quite a bit, you started in musical theater, and like your co-star Higgins, he also did. So I want to know how that history and where you started helped your career in film and television, and I guess what you brought from that, from the stage to screen.
Well, in the first instance, when you bring up Jeremy, I think it helped he and I as a pairing, because he sidled up to me on our first read-through day, and I didn't know that he'd been cast as Higgins, and he sidled up and went, and I went, "It's you and me! Oh my God, we're going to be just fine," because we're two old theatre bods, and we come from a very close-knit, helping each other out, community-spirited world. And I don't believe that anyone that gets into theatre gets into it because they think they're A, going to make a load of money, or B, be terribly famous. You get into it for the art, for the craft, and for the characters that will be bestowed upon you. So that was lovely when he and I met. It was like when Juno and I met, it just went clunk, clunk, done. So that was a blissful moment, realizing it was him. But answering your question about theatre and what it has lent, I would say part of it is that the fact that I never got into acting because I thought I was it's never been a big driving force for me in particular to particularly be in theatre or particularly be in television. I knew that my life work was to sing and to act, but in whatever form that came was just fine by me, with no preconceived idea of where that might take me, but I knew that that's what I needed to do. So I think what it's lent, having that 20 years grafting, and it is a graft in theatre, 8 shows a week is no small thing. Having that 20 odd years of having to be really muscular and using your body and your voice and everything live to the nth degree, 6 days a week is no small thing. And I think that by the time you get to television, there is no interview that you don't know, and your tiredness and how you manage that. So if anything, I would say to anybody who hasn't done theatre that is where you cut your teeth. And it's where you find out who you are, what you're good at, what you're not so good at. And then once you get on screen, bring it down to tiny, tiny expressions as much as you can. I think that's what I learned within the first few shows I did. When I would watch things back, I'd think, oh my God, woman, calm the down.
And now with the West End reopening, I know you're super busy, but is there theater in your future?
I've actually just had to turn down 2 things that, were I not doing Ted Lasso, I would have bitten their hand off to do. One of them in particular was a direct request from the artistic director of somewhere that is hugely revered and absolutely magnificent. And I even said to my agent, I was like, I can't believe I've finally been made a direct offer by the artistic director of this place, and I can't do it, because I would have probably been able to do it for like a month, but I know my schedule for Ted Lasso is insane and changeable by the minute, and I didn't feel like I would be able to fully devote myself to either, and that's not me. So yeah, as much as I'd like to, I mean, I am talking to people about doing another solo concert, because I put together a big band and I love the whole swinging big band thing, and I don't think enough women are doing it still, and it's my passion. So that's something that I'm trying to, we've just missed the boat on something that would have happened in September, but I didn't give them enough lead time in to do that. But I'm going to try and get my band together, because I miss singing terribly.
That'd be incredible. I'm there. Count me in.
I honestly, I feel like people will go, oh, okay, and I'll be like, well, no, this is rippling through my bloodstream more than anything. I'm more of a newbie to television than anything. It's singing that I can't. If somebody said you can never sing or never act again, if you took away my singing voice, I'd be a husk.
I don't know about that. You have so much to give in this show, and I do want to talk about your moment singing "Let It Go" in episode 7. Mm-hmm. But you mentioned this briefly about being in live theater, and I know that improv is a bit to the show and the comedy, and then mixing that comedy with drama. And I think with your career, you've had such diverse performances, and I think that speaks to Rebecca and what you give to her. Mm-hmm. So with there's so much to go into. With Rebecca specifically, I want to know what you gave to her as Hannah, and then what you learned from the character herself.
I think probably one of the most obvious things is that women of my height and build aren't often seen as somebody who might have experienced loss or heartache or fragility, vulnerability. And Jason and the camp have allowed me to show that it doesn't matter what you look like or who people perceive you to be. It's all going on just as much as for the next person, whether you be 6'2" in heels like me or 5'2". So that was the biggest thing for me. I think what you said, Nick, about my theatre roles have very much informed Rebecca, because I have no worries ever about showing the normal, the ugly, the messed up, the distraught, ever. I couldn't care less. If it serves the piece, if it serves the character, I'm all in. In fact, just the other day, we were doing a scene where I was lying in bed, and I went, I don't need any makeup then. And they went, we still need to have it. And I was like, well, why? Because that's not realistic. I like the fact that she would be very painted in work, because that's her, she's on. Mm-hmm. And she's on. But like, for example, now I've got makeup and hair done, but when I woke up this morning, I look the same as anybody else. And I like that kind of thing. But I don't think they like me being a very brass tacks, muscular theatre actress sometimes, because I want to go all out natural or mm-hmm. all out ugly, or do you know what I mean? So I like the fact that I have that about me, that when there are moments when Rebecca is lost, I don't care whether people are seeing the lines on my face or not, or the bags under my eyes, because it makes you lean into her more.
Yeah, the vulnerability, the tears, when she relents in episode 9 and she goes to Ted and just bears all, I think that's not something you see a lot of time in any sort of entertainment. And I think that's what's so special about this female character and the female relationships in the show. Another thing I really love from episode 7 is when Sassy comes and her and Keely and Rebecca are all having this girls' weekend trip together.
Yeah. Or isn't it wonderful to not see women pitted against each other? I bet you every single person that saw Sassy walk into that hotel room immediately thought this is going to be like a bitch fest, whether it be between Rebecca and Sassy for time ill spent, or between Keely and Sassy the person marking their territory and the other one not liking the old person coming back in. You can just see it happening. It happens all the time. Not so much with men, but with women, they just seem to do that to us. So that's been so lovely, and all us girls get on brilliantly. All the women in the show, including lovely Sarah Niles, who's just joined us this season, we're all birds, as we say here. We dig each other a lot, and I think that comes across.
Yeah, I think that the chemistry in the show is just incredible, and
universally it's spot on, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when Sassy walks in, you can see Keely's she's just waiting to hug her, and I love that so much. And it's, Rebecca's away from work. We're seeing her on just in a different territory, and I love that she gets to let loose. And Sassy actually says, if you like that woman, you're going to love Rebecca. And what I've wanted to know since that moment, I don't know if you can share this or not, but will we get to see that real Rebecca, or have you crafted who that person might be?
I think the people who are brought into her gaze in season 2, she can't help but be herself, in good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
There are some characters that are thrust into her eye line. She'd have to go some to put the barriers up.
Okay.
Which I was worried about, really, because I was worried ending season 1. Like I said to you when we started, she is such a precious jewel to me, and I just thought, okay, so in my head we've done that, and you're seeing that she can kind of come out of her shell a bit. But I thought, I hope they don't make it that, even though I think it's meant to be like 5 months or so have passed, I thought, I really hope that they don't have her suddenly being completely fine. Oh, I've all guilt about anything is gone. I've got over Rupert. I'm this new woman. Blah 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 blah. I think it's good that we join her a little bit down the line, but as we all have, it takes one comment, one moment for those insecurities and doubts to come back in. And I'm really relieved that we haven't marched her too far along in her kind of redevelopment.
Okay. Yeah. 100%.
Stop talking about that, otherwise I'll go, oh, and then this happens.
We'll keep going. Wait, no, I want to know. I mean, I think the show, it's called Ted Lasso, but I think this first season is really about Rebecca. The first shot is of her. The first word of the entire show is Rupert. So that from there, she transforms and she becomes this new woman. And I think that's incredible until the final shot, that iconic spit take. I
always say the amount of people that would pay for the saliva off my face on eBay. I should have put it in a pot.
Little vials, sell it.
Yeah, exactly. Sudeikis spittle.
And I think from there, it just, there's a world that we can't wait to visit with Rebecca. So I'm excited for season 2, and thank you so much for being with us, for chatting with us, and giving a little insight into the future. I can't wait for the second season to premiere.
Oh, well, I can't wait for you all to see it. I love that. The other day, Jason described it as The Empire Strikes Back, and it is that, and then some.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's been so gorgeous. I was worried at first about the whole COVID situation in terms of, the masks killing the funny, but it just doesn't. We were all, as soon as we got back in the room, there are some scenes that I have very much struggled to get through with people like bloody Nick Mohammed, who just, he and I have had a chance to do more together this year, and the Rebecca Nate dynamic just really makes me laugh. So yeah, it's I'm really excited for everyone to see it as well, because obviously we just play out all the scenes and you don't see it spliced together, but I did my first ADR session the other day and I just thought, oh, it's
And that's not the end. We have season 3.
I know.
You know, and
that's
incredible.
crazy. Yeah, and my God, Jason, I'm sure he likes the fact that he'll say something, he'll drop like a little nugget into the conversation, and I'm like, oh, is she? Do they? And he goes, yeah. And he'll be stroking his moustache at the same time. He's like, yeah, you didn't know that? I'm like, why would I know that? And he's like, oh. And I'm like, oh, tell me what. So, and he's like, no, that's enough. And then he'll sidle off, and I just think, oh, God, right. Yeah, so he knows
gotta keep you.
Yeah, honestly, he's a bugger.
Amazing. Well, congrats, and
Thanks,
I'm
Nick.
excited to see. Yeah, have a good day, Hannah.
Thank you so much. See you again, hopefully in the flesh.